very excited. We got some great news. It's actually very apropos to the topic tonight that we're going to be covering. In fact, what's interesting is I was preparing this talk before I got this wonderful piece of news. And if some of you follow me on Facebook, probably know already. Jenny saw her oncologist today, and it was a 5-year checkup. I mean, she'd been seeing the oncologist like once every 6 months, and they finally did a test to see if they needed to keep her on her immunotherapy cancer medication for the next 5 years. So she's been 5 years. Then they checked. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. Probably some of you don't even know. So December 2018, Jenny was diagnosed with breast cancer, like between stage 1 and stage 2. So it was like, I think the 18th of December. It was like 2018, sometime mid-December. So we had to, before Christmas, right? And we had to tell our kids. It was a crazy time, right? In fact, here's how she found out. She called to see if the results were in. She didn't expect the person on the phone to tell her what the results were. She had the mammogram. So she was expecting to say, yeah, why don't you come on in? We'll tell you what the results are. Actually, the woman on the phone said, yeah, it looks like cancer. So she just found out on the phone. And so we had to, deal with that. It was, it's one of those things you don't expect. In fact, she found out through a routine mammogram, or I should say, she got a mammogram routine. In fact, she hadn't really checked. She hadn't really done one in a while, I think for 4 years or 5 years. She decided to go in and get one done. They found something. So then she went in to do x-ray or whatever they do at the radiology department. And then that's when she called in. And so she on the phone said, yeah, it looks like cancer. It's kind of crazy, right? I mean, it would deliver news like that. So I'll never forget we called, my children were in various locations going to school. My daughter was in New York, my oldest daughter, my other daughter was in college, and they're all over the place. So we did a Zoom call, and one of the hardest things was letting our kids know that their mom had cancer. But one thing that Jenny, she just said, okay, let's deal with it. And she didn't wallow in self-pity, although she probably felt like it. The thing that I remember is that she just, what else am I going to do, right? I'm going to deal with it. And then she wanted to let everyone know to pray for her. So she believed in letting everyone know so that, we would exercise the prayer warrior team, which we did. And she could have done a lumpectomy, but she didn't want to keep looking behind. So she decided to do a double mastectomy. And that was the following year, 2019. And then she went through 6 rounds of chemo, and, she lost her hair. In fact, when she started losing her hair, she wanted me to shave her head. So I shaved her head, and I shaved mine too. So we both kind of shared in losing our hair. Some of you, if you see some of my videos with my head shaved, like not skin shaved, but, I cut it close. That's how you know that we were in the cancer phase. Okay. What was great about that is that, not great about it, but the situation was such that I was able to be with her on all her infusions, chemo infusions, and I was able to serve her and be with her because of this awesome business. Didn't have to worry about asking off from work. And in fact, we had a cancer policy. In fact, we had this cancer policy for like 12 years. And all of a sudden we cashed it in. I mean, who knew? And then the following year, 2020, is when she had a breast reconstruction surgery. After the chemo, they put her on immunotherapy drugs. So today she went in to get a test done. The test was to determine whether or not she was out of the woods, so to speak, like cancer-free, or did they notice something in her blood test that they needed to keep her on immunotherapy drugs? Well, she didn't know they were going to give her results. Otherwise, she would have asked me to go with her. But they gave her the results today. And the results are that she's cancer-free. She's free. She no longer has to take the immunotherapy drugs, which actually have caused, certain side effects on her that she's so glad to be free from those. So, she rang the bell. Like I posted when she first rang the bell after chemo, but she kind of rang it not enthusiastically because, it was still a long road to hoe. I mean, we had to make it to 5 years with no recurrence. Okay. So she just rang it and she wasn't really into it. In fact, I should do both videos, the before, right after chemo, and then the after, right after this news today. And you can see a big difference. But today she was crying. She came to my office and she was crying, it was tears of joy. She's cancer free. And I wish I was with her, but it's just as well. Because I'm going to share with you the video. Some of you probably maybe have seen it.
Fraud? But no. I'm actually going to read it.
I'm sorry you didn't bring your husband today.
Now, you have the video.
Congratulations.
Hey, we're We're dead.
So she came to my office right after and was crying. I was crying, In fact, after she left, after I was done with my Zoom call with someone, I started breaking down in tears. Just when you think about everything we went through and all the stress, and then there's always that, thing like the other shoe may drop, right? Like, because if the test came back that she had to be another 5 years, it's like, oh, geez, is this thing ever going to go away? It's going to be 10 years. And praise the Lord, man. Thank the Lord. It's through power of prayer, all our prayer partners and people that have continued to pray for Jenny that she's going to get free from this terrible disease, and she defeated it. So praise the Lord, man. We just can't be more thankful. And, not everyone gets this kind of news, right? Some people get the other kind of news, and some people don't make it. And we've been blessed because, we've just been blessed, right? I mean, so I've been humbled by all of this. I mean, humbled because of God's mercy, humbled because Jenny doesn't have to go through for the next 5 years, humbled that she can now go back to normal without all the side effects of the drugs. I mean, she went through a lot of trying to change medications because the side effects were not good. She switched to another one. And I mean, it was just crazy trying to get immunotherapy right. Praise the Lord. Anyway, so found this out. So guess what? The topic that I prepared today is the virtue of humility. I approach this topic a little bit more pointed at humility in action in our business and what we do, but as opposed to humility in general, the virtue of humility. And humility, there are many virtues that are kind of going in and out of humility. I'll mention those towards the end. So let's talk about, what is humility? It's the antithesis of pride, right? You have pride and you got humility. You know what happens about pride? I think we talked about it in our first call. And the virtue of humility this is such an important virtue in so many ways. It just means you're not a prideful person. And pride cometh before the fall. We all know what happens to prideful people. The Bible's of what happens to prideful people. David, suffered from the sin of pride that manifests itself with, murder and adultery and so on. But you'll never go wrong with humility. So let's talk about it kind of in the context of our business and insurance. Humility, God opposes the proud, but graciously cares for the humble. If that ain't the truth, that is the truth. With Jenny's cancer, it's always the Lord's will, right? It's always the Lord's will. Whatever His will is, His will be done. There's what we would love to have happen, but then there's God's will. And we always have to understand that God's will is the right will. It is the way it ought to be. Whether it's what we want or not, His will be done. Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane was just praying that, take this cup away from me, but thy will be done. Imagine who is one with God and the Holy Spirit is asking to take the cup away. Is there any other way that we can do this, but Jesus knows thy will be done, but he asks, right? So, if the Lord thought differently about Jeannie's situation, then thy will be done. No one could ever understand why bad things happen to good people, right? It's not for us to understand. Why does the Lord heal this person, but not heal this person? You have prayer warriors going on, and it's something that is beyond our understanding. And the goodness and kindness of the Lord is what we have to depend on, that His will be done, and something good will come out of everything that He allows to have happen, or things that He decides to heal. Something good's always going to have happen, particularly for those who have faith and believe. So this is a very simple, again, I'm not going to try to make this too complicated, right? People have gone into depth on describing humility, but just simply, some people think of humility as thinking little of yourself. But I would say that it's really someone who just doesn't think about themselves that much. Humility is not a weakness, and humility is one of the greatest strengths that someone can exhibit, particularly because it involves other people. Humility is displayed in the context of other people, in relating to in ministering, and we're going to dig into that. But again, humility is not thinking little of yourself. It's thinking less about yourself and more about other people. Humble people are focused on others. Like in the context of our business, all the different training meetings we do, whether it's a Zoom call like y'all are on here, or whether it's a live training meeting, boot camp, an act of humbleness are people that show up. By showing up, you have an opportunity to contribute. And it's not so much what you say or do, it's that you contribute in some way to the community, to the team. And how do you do that? Well, it doesn't even have to be expressing your experience. Like a lot of you don't have experience to express that can help other people. But how can you contribute? Your smile, when you're smiling, when you're in the meeting room smiling at other people, when you're having a spirit of encouragement, when you're letting other people feel welcome and you're excited to be there as well. You contribute through your smile. You contribute with your attitude of eagerness to learn something, your attitude of being part of the team and welcoming others to the team and introducing yourself. And I'm talking about live events, introducing yourself to the people in the room so they know who you are. You find out about them, even though you're brand new. People want to help you. They just need to know who you are. And you tell them, oh, I'm pretty new. Oh, really? Welcome. It's that. And if the other person's new, hey, I'm new too. Awesome. You excited? Yeah, I'm excited. It's attitude and spirit of unity, this culture in the community that we're trying to foster. And everyone who comes to a meeting can exercise this virtue of humbleness through being there, right? The kindness that you show by accommodating other people. If you're sitting down, you see someone that needs to sit down, you get up and offer them your chair and go find another chair for yourself. Or you have a brand new person and getting them to sit in the front row, like you invite them to come to the front row. Everyone can exercise kindness no matter how long you've been in the business, okay? It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're part of the team, that you're contributing, right? Here's the bottom line on events and meetings that we conduct. Either you need the meeting or the meeting needs you. In other words, you need the meeting because you need to learn. You need to get around the people. You need to build your belief that this business is going to work for you by seeing other people that are making the business work. You need the meeting, but you know what? The meeting might need you too. Let's say you had a great week. You sold 5 policies and you closed $5,000 of business, and they get people up, hey, who's closed more than one policy this week? And you get to stand up and, they'll ask you tell us about those sales. You can contribute. How did what kind of leads did you run? Tell us about, did you have any no-shows? How did you handle the no-shows? They can ask you a whole bunch of great questions because you're out there doing so. So the meeting needs you to edify the business, edify the other agents that are there that are wanting to believe, and you're out there proving that it works. The meeting needs you. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because by exercising the virtue of humbleness, that's how you can use that to contribute to the meetings. You're focused on other people. Here's another aspect of humble people. They notice and they connect to people that are in pain. Sometimes when you focus on others and not yourself, you know how it is. You go into a room and is it hot or cold in here? Is it warm? Like, can I hear the speaker? Am I sitting in the right place? Everything about me, 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 me. But a true leader and a true person of humbleness will notice the people around them. And they'll know someone who's like off in the corner, they're by themselves, or they're just standing by themselves. You'll go over and introduce yourself to them, right? Hey, can I sit next to you? How long you been in the business? Where are you from? Oh, who brought you into the business? Oh, what a great upline you have. Everyone has some kind of hurt. They may not express it, but you don't know what someone's going through. By you noticing, number one, you notice, which is huge, and then connect with them. It's probably not comfortable for a lot of people, but when you exercise humility in that regard, being a noticer and connecting, and then offering words of support. In our business, you're going to run into people like, man, I've just had a rough week. Oh, really? What's up? What happened? And you're listening to them. You don't have to give them any advice. The fact that you're listening to them is good enough, especially if you don't have advice to give, okay? Just listen to them, be with them. Sometimes people just need you to be with them, right? If they're going through some kind of pain. That's powerful. And you never know how much doing that for someone will help them. Humble people really want to know how the other person is doing, and they really listen. It's not one of these, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? It's, hey, how you doing? There's a way that you say it, like, hey, how you really doing? So that's the second thing. Say, hey, how's it going? People are going to give you it's like finding pain, right? We talk about finding pain. There's a, how you doing? Oh, no, I'm doing all right. See, when people say, yeah, I'm doing rocking, I'm doing great. Okay, but then the person says, I'm all right. It could be better. Oh, really? So tell me how are you really doing? And you look at them in their eye. You're not darting around looking at other people or other things, noticing people in the room. You're focused on them because you really want them to know that you care, right? So how are you really doing? And then shut up and let them answer the question. Find out more about it. We talked about this in our communication that we did on the last recruiting call. I think it was last Friday. I did a recruiting call and I talked about communication. And communicating with humbleness is listening to them without regard to responding to them. It's just listening to them to learn about what is going on with them. Here's the distinction. You're not looking to sympathize, right? Because here's what sympathy does. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, you're mirroring back their attitude of negativity, because they're just feeling down. And when you start showing them that it's putting you down, then you start spinning into this spiral going downward. You listen to empathize, but you're not listening to sympathize. Sympathy will cause you to wallow in their pain, but when you listen to empathize, you understand how they're feeling. They know that you understand how they're feeling because of the way you act towards them. But your job is to get them thinking about what they can do to think more positively. It's like getting them to think about something different. The best leaders in the business, the best listeners, the people that really exercise this virtue of humbleness, is they turn the conversation to what can we help you to do what you need to do to get out of, yeah, man, I've had tough weeks too. But you know what? If I were your coach, this is what I do as an upline. It's like, if you were me, what would you tell you to do, right? Everyone really kind of knows what they ought to do. So engaging them in a conversation, but not to sympathize, but to empathize and move them through that to action, plan of action, or encourage them to say, hey man, I'm glad you're at this meeting because you are going to hear exactly what you need to hear to turn this next week around. Are you excited about that? It's a simple thing to do, but it's so important. Here's one thing that's really important in our business when it comes to acting in humbleness is sometimes people think of agent levels like board member ring. It's like a big ring, right? I get asked about it all the time. And although it's not a big deal to me, I don't want to make it a big deal because it's not, right? This is what I believe. Man gives the award, but God gives the reward. And I just look at this, the way I look at this is how many people have I served in order to be recognized for this? And it's not the recognition to be recognized. It's the recognition to hold a position where I can edify other people. See, edification is such an important thing in our business because once you get the light of edification, then your job is to shine it on others, other people that deserve the spotlight. Gives you a chance to turn around on other people. And so our agent levels is not something that we achieve for the purpose of achieving it. Our agent levels is only purely a recognition of how much we've served other people. And that's the way that I believe, we should look at it. You can think the way you want, but I think the way that a humble leader thinks about it is it's a measure of how we serve. It's not to be flaunted. Again, pridefulness is flaunting your level to show everyone you're the big deal. Really, the purpose of you achieving a level is to show other people that they can do it too. Your job when you start moving up the ranks of the alliance or whatever you're doing is your opportunity to prove to other people that someone like me could do it. If someone like me could do it, man, you could do this thing too. That's the way that we kind of bring people up with us, is when we achieve a level, it's a way to bring other people up with us. We put a hand down to bring people up with us. As I mentioned again, you shine the light of edification on other people. It's not something to be absorbed for yourself. You turn around and shine the light on other people because now you're in a position of edification where people, oh man, he's an agency manager, or she's a senior board member. But then as a senior board member, you can say, I've got someone who's really rocking the business right now. So everything that comes out of your mouth is way more credible, particularly when you have someone that's building a team, and that person building a team is edifiable, meaning they're doing all the right things to build their business. You get to talk good about them to their group. So someone in their agency say, man, you got a great leader here. I'll tell you what, man, Jonathan Earls, he's one of the most solid guys I've ever met. He is lambing this thing. You need to listen to him. That's the power of edification. Because I was lifted up to be a senior board member, I have credibility to edify you as the leader of your group. And that's how edification works. It's not for me to be, I'm the big guy. No, man, the way I look at our business, it's a reverse pyramid. I'm at the bottom of the pyramid and I support my team. My team rests on my shoulders, rests on my integrity, it rests on my willingness to serve. That's the way I look at it. And the higher you raise up on the levels, it means that your pyramid that you're supporting gets bigger and bigger. Yes, heavy is the crown, right? Humble leaders focus their energy on other people. They're others focused. Such an important concept because when you think more about other people than yourself, this is the true nature of humility. Humility fills the cup of service that then you can pour out on others. You fill your cup with service and then you pour it out to other people. And what's really cool, what the Lord will do is when you empty your cup, He always fills it up with more. Always fills it up with more mercy. Always fills it with more strength, with more courage, more grace that you need to continue to serve others because you're doing what He wants you to do. You're doing His will, and He's got depths of mercy and grace that can continue to fill your cup when you feel empty. Here's one of those things, man. It could be like midnight and I'm just tired and exhausted. And a call comes in from someone like in Hawaii or on the West Coast. It's midnight my time. I actually don't go to bed till about 2 or 3 in the morning anyway. But I'm like tired. I get a call. It's like, oh man. And it's one of those things where I don't feel like answering it, but I have to. I'm supposed to. This could be one of the most important calls for this person, right? And you just take the call. Some leaders, they want to act important. I'm so important. I'm so busy. I'm not going to take the calls. I want them to think I'm busy. It's like, oh my gosh, that's such a prideful attitude. The true humble servant attitude is to pick up every call that you get because that person needs your help, especially if it's someone and all they do is complain. You know it's coming. You still pick up the phone because God put you in a position to serve. Then serve. It's not always going to be easy. In fact, it's almost never easy. That's why we do it. That's why we do it. The other thing, traveling to serve the team, getting in your car, getting in a plane, going out and meeting with people face to face. It's a huge thing. Relationships are built in person. Hard to develop a relationship purely on the phone or on a Zoom call. And I can't tell you how many times I've traveled to meet the team members, how much I fall in love with them, right? The more you go out and meet them and spend time with them and live your life with them and break bread with them, you fall in love with them. And sometimes it may not go the way you want it. Like they could leave you a month from now, and the prideful person would think, man, I spent money on this person. I flew out there. I spent $1,000 trying to serve them and then they leave me, right? That's a prideful attitude. Here's what a humble leader, if that person is like, you pray for us, Lord, help them find the way that you want them to go. Help them be successful. If it's not with me, please help them be successful with whomever they get with. Help them figure out what they did wrong with me and fix whatever they need to do to be successful with someone else. It's like, if you love them, let them go. Let them go where they want to go. Your job is not to hold on to people. Your job is to earn their respect, earn that they want to be with you because you love them and you want to serve them. That's a true humble leader who's willing to pray for them even if they leave you. And it may hurt, and that's okay. Think about Jesus is dying on the cross, man. And when he says, I thirst, he thirsts for souls. And he knows that not everyone's going to answer the call. Not everyone's going to repent and believe in the gospel. He knows people are going to go to hell. And it pains him. It hurts him to know that there'll be people that won't listen to him, even though he's healed them. But again, he'll go out and find the one sheep that's gone astray versus the 99. To me, that's the Lord that we serve. And that's the model that we need to follow. Humble leaders reach up for help. Man, I need help all the time. Andy Albright, other leaders that help me. I am not proud. I'll take help from anybody, even people that are not at my level who know something more than I do. I want to know what they're doing. I don't care if they're, a regional manager. I don't care if they're an agency manager. There's some things they can teach me. I don't care if they're just a new agent that's figured something out. Hey, I want to know what you're doing. I don't pretend to know everything. I don't want to know everything. I want to learn. I look at everyone I bring in the business opportunity to learn something about them and maybe something about how I can improve everything for everyone else, right? So I'm always reaching up for help. I am not the know-it-all. In fact, the more I know, the more I don't know. The more I know that I don't know. Okay, if you understand what that means. Humble people are humble enough to admit that they need help. I don't have mastered. The other thing too is you have to have something to give to other people. How can I give to you if I'm not continuing to get better myself? If I'm not continuing to be mentored by other people? You should be scared of the leader that does not get mentorship from someone else. I'm always looking to become better for you. That's the nature of our business. The only way my business grows is if I help you grow. The only way I can help you grow is if I grow, so I can give something back to you. All right. I need help. I always need help. Humble leaders, because of their lack of self-absorption, they also have more courage to try new things. Not even leaders, just humble people. Here's the thing is humble people, because they're not looking so much at themselves, they're looking at how can I be better serve other people? How can I be better at my job at selling insurance? How can I be better at my job at selling retirement planning or helping someone with their retirement planning? I'm not thinking about how can I make more money. It's how can I serve more people? And then I need to try things that I'm uncomfortable with, right? I have to get out of my comfort zone. If I'm not willing to get out of my comfort zone, then that's a prideful attitude. Well, Alex, what do you mean it's a prideful attitude? It's just, I'm uncomfortable. No, it's a prideful attitude because you're willing to settle to be where you are and you're not wanting to be better for other people. You want to wallow in your comfortableness and are unwilling to go get better so that you can be better for other people. See, remember, it's others focused. Comfort level is you're thinking about yourself. Getting out of your comfort zone is focusing on how I can be better for other people. That's a huge thing, man. When you understand that, the whole world changes. The whole world will change around you. So with a focus on others, here's the thing. There's less pressure to be perfect. It frees you to take more risks because you're not worried about what other people think about you. See, perfectionism and that fear of other people thinking less of you because you're not correct, you're not right. The humble person is one that's willing to admit they're wrong or willing to admit that they don't know, but they'll go find out. That's humbleness. I'd like to think that I'd lived my life as a humble father to my kids to the point where I've screwed up. I admit to them, hey, Anthony, I'm sorry, man. I messed up. I shouldn't have yelled at you. I am sorry. I could not hold my temper and it was wrong of me to yell at you. I'm sorry that, I love you. I want the best for you, but I did not act the way that I should have as a father to you. You got to be willing to admit you're wrong, that you made a mistake. And when you have that willingness to admit you're wrong and to seek forgiveness, then there's less pressure on you to have to be perfect. And then once you do that, you can start taking risks, right? Risks of stepping out of your comfort zones. That's what I mean by taking risks. Stepping out of your comfort zone, risking your ego, right? Risking how other people think about you. Taking the risk of getting out of your comfort zone. This is huge. This what I've just talked about in this last 3-4 minutes is huge for you to improve and get beyond where you are right now. Humble people are not paralyzed with fear of failure because it's not their chief concern. Again, this supports everything I've just said. And the fear of failure comes from what you think of, that you care more about what others think about you. You're more concerned about how can I serve better? How can I get out of my comfort zone so I can grow and become better for other people, right? You're others focused. So let's talk about the virtues that are peripheral virtues to the virtue of humility. So respect it branches off into respect, right? What are we talking about? Respect for ourselves guides our morals. Respect for others guides our manners. That's pretty deep, right? Respect for ourselves guides our morals. Respect for others guides our manners. Here's kind of the context I want to maybe make a comment on this quote by Lawrence Stern. Our identity is not, I'm a father of 2 children. That's not my identity. That's a role. My identity is who I am all the time, regardless of my role. So my role as a manager of a large agency, is different than my identity. My role as a husband is different than my identity. My identity is not a husband. My role is a husband. My role is a father. My role is a musician that plays in a praise band. Those are my roles. But here's my identity. My identity is I'm a child of God made in his image and likeness. And you are a child of God made in his image and likeness. We are brothers. We are sisters. You're my sister. You're my brother in the family of God. And so as such, you deserve every respect that I deserve because we're children of God. So respecting ourselves in our identity as a child of God means that we can respect other people because they're the same. And we treat each other with respect because of our identity. Does that make sense? Our roles are our roles. We can be happy or sad about how we perform our roles, but we can never, ever diminish ourselves and how we think about ourselves because of our identity as children of God, right? We are kid of the King. We are adopted sons and daughters of God our Father, to the point where our value is such that God sent his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, to die for our sins and then come back to life 3 days later, where we find an empty grave because Jesus conquered sin, he conquered death, and he won the victory for us. We are worthy to be called sons and daughters of God, and that's how we shape our identity. And that's why you can respect yourself, which means that you can respect other people because you respect yourself. The saddest thing in the world are people that don't realize that they don't respect themselves. They look in the mirror, they don't see a child of God. They see someone battered by Satan telling them they're nothing. Satan beating them down, their self-image, that you're a sinner. You are not good enough. You're not worthy of love. You're not worthy of respect because of all the bad things you've done in your life. That's Satan accusing. If you ever feel like being accused and feeling diminished, that's Satan accusing you. It's not God accusing you. When he makes you feel diminished, that's Satan. It's come from Satan. That's actually a whole nother topic, and I'm not going to get into it. But this respect idea is couched in your identity as a child of God in his image and likeness. Be tolerant and accepting. Empathy over evaluation. Okay, this tolerance thing. Love the sinner, hate the sin. Okay, I know you've probably heard that before, but do you really do it? Do you start, again, their identity is they're made in the image and likeness of God. They're just not doing things that God would want them to do, something that I wouldn't do, but we pray for them. We encourage that they get back on the right track. We're tolerant of them as children of God. We're not accepting of their sinful practices, and I'm not accepting my own. Before you take the splinter out of your brother's and sister's eye, you got to take the plank out of your own. So being tolerant and accepting means that you're not accepting a sin in yourself, which means you're not accepting sin in other people. You don't have to accept that, but you accept them as children of God. It's an important distinction. And so, during this election time, we're so quick to judge people of, the other party. I don't care what party you are, there's always a person of the other party. And we start throwing around not so kind things. We subject others to our unkindness because we identify their bad thinking with them as people. Name calling is like, come on, man. Name calling, really? Are we going to be like sixth graders? Empathy over valuation. You're not judging them as people, okay? You're judging their actions as maybe not right. It's okay to judge right or wrong in their actions, but to judge them as people, well, Alex, how can you separate it? Man, separating it is everything, because how would Jesus? But Jesus couldn't stand were the Pharisees and Sadducees who were hypocrites. If there's any sin that he hated the worst, in my estimation, it's hypocrisy, right? Hypocrisy. He hated people in authority leading others astray. When you cause someone to sin, you might as well tie a millstone around your neck and be tossed in the sea. That's why he looked at them. Blind fools. Empathy over valuation. Understand how people have come to this point. One of the best questions is in your mind is, man, if I had his parents and his upbringing, or lack of parents and his upbringing, I'd probably be doing the same thing. Walk a mile in his shoes and then understand why they do what they're doing. You don't have to accept it as acceptable behavior, but you can empathize and understand why they make those decisions that they make. I'm not going to say anything more because it can get into just really crazy conversations. I would love to have kind of a group discussion at some point where we break this into, getting your thoughts on it. Be considerate, displaying manners and not inconveniencing others. Man, can you imagine if we had presidential candidates that had manners? That's just not the way our political system works. Treating each other with respect. What a concept. Show humility, remove arrogance. Arrogance displayed by what you say and how you say it. Your actions also speak louder than your words. Arrogant actions. When you take the best seat and not deferring to others. There's all kinds of Bible verses on that, but I don't want it. It's already 9:20. It's 9:20. Let's move on. Compassion, another related virtue. Being concerned about how much your actions will affect not only the outcome, but also the journey of another. Consider how much your actions will affect not only the outcome, but also the journey of another. The winning at all cost mentality, when the cost of that is crushing someone else's spirit, crushing someone else. There's a way to win without crushing other people. There's a way to win that other people win as well. Considering how much your actions will affect not only the outcome, but also the journey of another. That's compassion. Notice another's distress. We actually talked about this earlier. Being open to accept others around us. When you focus on other people and how they're feeling and what they're doing, your head's on a swivel, right? Being aware of what other people are doing, reading their body language, watching how they react to things will give you all the clues you need to know how they're feeling. Instead of you being focused on yourself, being focused on the person sitting next to you. Can they hear what the speaker's saying? Are they confused? Or how can you help them? Connect to another's hurt. Take their perspective of the sufferer, but don't let them focus on that. This goes back to what we said before, is it's okay to empathize, but don't sympathize, because sympathy will keep them where they're at. Empathy will understand where they're at and then understand where to take them to get out of that, out of their suffering. Replenish another's void. Positive effect of smiling and being attentive. You have no idea how much a smile will affect someone else. A smile on a Zoom call. Funny how on Zoom calls, when I watch people on camera, they look depressed. When I'm on a Zoom call, I'm smiling all the time. Have you ever seen me on the TWC? If I'm on the TWC and the talk is not focused on me, but I'm still on camera, I'm smiling. I'm smiling. I'm always aware. I need to show my attitude and mindset by my smile, not just by nodding and having RBF, right? I'm always smiling. It's such an important quality. Community. This is what the Alliance is all about, man. Keeping a unified mindset, appreciation of each individual's contribution. Everyone can contribute. Just by being there, they contribute. By leaning forward and listening to the speaker, you contribute. All the little things you do contribute to the community that we're creating, a community of positiveness, encouraging and uplifting, not putting anyone down, not judging people as people, being accepting of everyone, even though we all come from different backgrounds, right? It's a unified mindset. It's a community and culture that we've created, and we have to protect the culture. Our culture is so important that we need to protect it by being loyal to what we're trying to accomplish, right? Ignoring distractions and getting out of gossiping and rumor. When you hear gossip and rumor, that just serves to tear down the community. When you hear it, number one, you shouldn't pass it on. Number two, you really shouldn't listen to it. Number three, you should say, hey man, I would just keep that to yourself. It's not helpful to our culture and to our community. You probably want to just keep that to yourself. At the Alliance, we don't gossip, man. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. It's still hurtful. Even if it's true, it's something that you shouldn't wallow in. It's something you shouldn't listen to. And if you do hear it, you should tamp it out as soon as you can. It's respecting and being loyal to the culture that we're creating. And finally, gratitude. We talked about gratitude as the parent of all the virtues. Gratitude is a very important related aspect of what we're talking about in humbleness. Just showing appreciation, man. I make it a point to say thank you to anyone who serves me with anything. The server in the restaurant, I always say thank you. Yeah, you might think it's their job. You know what? It might be their job, but you know what? It's okay to show appreciation. It's okay. In fact, the more you show appreciation and gratitude, you say thank you to people, the more you practice it, the more you become it. The more humble you become when you show your appreciation and gratitude towards other people. It's one of the most important exercises that you can do to maintain this attitude. Practice indebtedness, helping others in need through implied obligation. Okay, what do I mean by this? It's almost like this poverty in spirit is the realization that I'm nothing without God's grace. I'm nothing. I am dust, and to dust I will return. I'm nothing without God's grace. And so I have this spiritual indebtedness to God for everything. It's this that's poverty of spirit. And when you practice that indebtedness, you're indebted to God for what He's done for you, and you display your gratitude for that in how you treat His children. You're indebted to God, so now you're obligated to serve His children. That's the obligation, my humble opinion. Honor the opportunity. This opportunity that you have to build a business, to be in a business like this, a business focused on serving other people, helping them with their financial needs, helping them with their estate planning needs, helping them with their Medicare, helping them with ancillary health products. I mean, all the things that we do, we have the opportunity to serve other people so that lives can become better. What a great opportunity that is. And so this attitude of humbleness starts with making the proper decisions. What's the proper decision? Any decision you make, the priority is the decision I'm making good for the team? Is the decision I'm making good for my upline? Is the decision I'm making good for me? You put yourself in the last position. You're looking first, how can this benefit the team? How can this benefit my upline team? How can this benefit me and my family? It's not the other way around, because what's good for the team will be good for you. Sometimes what's good for you is not good for the team, but honoring the opportunity is making decisions in that particular order. All right, so let's get into the word. I've got 2 more minutes. Okay. I wish I had more time. Well, I mean, I don't want to take more time. So 1 Peter 3, verses 3 and 4, your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as elaborate hairstyles and the wearing of gold jewelry or fine clothes. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. It's more what's inside you. What is the verse on, the Pharisees more concerned about washing the cup to purify it as opposed to what's inside the cup? The Lord said, fix what's inside the cup first, and you're not going to worry about what's on the outside, right? This is the essence of that. It's what's on the inside that matters. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves. Philippians 2:3. Man, this is powerful. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. See, think about this. 2,000 years ago, people were the same as us today. People were selfish back then, just like we're selfish today. Do nothing out of selfishness. in humility, value others above yourselves. Mark 9, verse 35, sitting down, Jesus called the 12 and said, anyone who wants to be first must be the very last and servant of all. Cracks me up when I think it's James and John who wanted to be the mother. Their mom wanted to sit on the Lord's left and one on the right. It's the prideful Jewish mother. He says, man, the greatest will be the servant of all. Good and upright is the Lord, therefore he instructs sinners in his ways. He guides the humble, what is right, and teaches them his way. Psalm 25, 8 and 9. What's the power in this is that, think about it the opposite. He doesn't guide the prideful in what is right. He guides the humble in what is right. What do we need to do? We want to do what's right. The only way to do what's right is he teaches us if we're humble. Does that make sense? Out of humbleness, he will enlighten your way. He will shine the light on your path on what you need to do next to further his kingdom. Then he said to them, whoever welcomes this little child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. For it is the one who is least among you all who is the greatest. It says it right there. So action. Oh yeah, I need to send out this link. I'll send out the link to this PowerPoint. So here are things that I want you all to, this is a good exercise. This is a good exercise in understanding this virtue of humility. Write down the names of people that you think are humble and why. Find one person who's a business associate, in the insurance business, someone you're associated with in business, family or friends who you think are the most humble people you can think of. And then people at church, right? People at church who are the most humble people you can think of. Write down their names, okay? And it could be multiple people, whatever context. And then think about what ways can you imitate their humbleness? Because I bet you write down those people's names, you could tell me exactly how you've come to the conclusion that they're humble. And it's what they do. It's what they say too, but it's what they do more than anything, right? You'll know a tree by its fruit. They exhibit the fruit of humbleness. There's things that they do that make you come to that conclusion. So how can you imitate what they're doing? The next action, evaluate what situations cause you to focus on yourself and not others. Like if someone has hurt you, if you were wronged, messed up, if something happened that underwriting messed up and you got to call them and you get all puffy about it. You're thinking about yourself, right? Maybe you're thinking about your client, like, how dare you? But look, that person is just doing their job the best they know how. Maybe they're not good at it, but think about it. You think you're wronged. They weren't trying to wrong you. They weren't trying to make your life miserable. It just happened to be miserable for you. They weren't trying to do that. Sometimes we think that, the world's out to get me. You're focused on yourself. You focus on others, man. That whole attitude turns all the way around. So evaluate those situations that cause you to be self-centered. And then think about how will you act when you encounter those situations that you can think more about others than yourself. So you can probably give me 5 things that force you to think about yourself and other people. And then those 5 things, next time you encounter those, how are you going to act differently? How are you going to think differently in those situations? If you already know how you're going to act differently, you are 75% of the way to defeating the self-centeredness and replacing it with true humbleness. And then I think I just said that, what causes you to be angry and think selfishly? So that's it, man. Humility. 9:35. Golly. Well, gang, I appreciate y'all being on this call, and I appreciate you sharing in the joy that we have for Ginny's full recovery, and to know that we're thankful for the Lord and humbled by his mercy, and we can't ever take that for granted. I hope that these Wednesday sessions are helping you. I pray that they are. And oh yeah, I got to send you out so hold on. I'm going to put out in the chat. I'm going to send you this PowerPoint you can download. So I'm going to send you out Dropbox link. And then when I send out this video, I'll also include a way to download the PowerPoint as well. So there you go. I hope this helped everybody. And again, here's what I would ask you to pray, a Thanksgiving prayer that the Lord healed Jenny. Then I would ask you to pray for others who are going through it right now. People in the Alliance, like Nikki Long, is going through her cancer battle right now. We also know that Michelle Alleman is also going through her cancer battle, and they're fighting. There are probably others that have not remembered. In general, those that are fighting the cancer battle, and say a prayer for them, right? I find that the ultimate act of humility is when you can pray for other people, and not even praying for yourself, praying for other people all the time, because people are praying for you. I'm praying for you at least. peace, right? The ultimate act of humbleness is when you think about others and pray for them, especially if there are people you don't like, people that are your enemies. Praying for your enemies, to me, is the ultimate act of humbleness. Anyway, man, thanks everybody for plugging in. I honestly, I do appreciate it. And thanks everybody. God bless you, man. Take care.